This video right here, it's going to tip a lot of people over the edge. My goodness. I want you to hear my heart here. I am by no means the judge, and I'm not trying to be. I'm not trying to suspect things, and let me just stake this right out front. My channel will not be built upon rumors. Hearsay, thearsay, what they said, what so-and-so said. It's not going to be built on that. It's not even going to be built upon rumors on social media. My channel is going to be built upon, of course, the goal of telling people about Jesus. Number two, it's going to be built on truth. It's going to be built on the truth. So I'm not trying to come on here just spread what suspicions are. But I did think this was interesting enough to tell you. Okay? Now, we all know, you read the title, you saw the thumbnail. We all know that just a few nights ago, Erika Kirk introduced J.D. Vance at her recent rally that she had. I think it was at Ole Miss, and a lot of people are taking note at the interaction between these two. What she said about him and how their physical contact seemed a little bit off. Now, listen to me. But once again, I have to overcompensate on what I'm saying here. I am by no means trying to say anything or trying to suspect anything or trying to tell you this is what's happening at all. I'm not doing that whatsoever. So don't you dare put words in my mouth, okay? But what I am showing you is what other people are saying. I have an opinion on this. I don't know if I'll really share it during this video. I could be overthinking a lot of this stuff, but I just want you to watch what other people are saying. And this is like very viral right now. And I also want you to let me know your opinion in the comments. Can you do that for me? All right, let's check this out. Erika Kirk, we all know her husband brutally assassinated just about a month ago. And then we see she has this rally, I believe, like I said, at Ole Miss, I think it was. And she introduces
No one will ever
Vance, and this is what she says. She starts it out with saying, "No one will ever replace my husband." This is what she goes on to say.
No one will ever replace my husband. No. But I do see some similarities of my husband in JD and Vice President JD Vance. I do. And that's why I'm so blessed to be able to introduce him tonight.
So this is what people were pointing out. She's way too happy. It's what they're saying. She's way too happy having to been a grieving widow. Now I'm going to point out some interesting things in just a second that people are saying. She's way too happy to be a widow that just lost her husband. No. I understand if you had these facial expressions, if your husband was, 80 years old, you were 78 years old, and he died in his sleep. He went to heaven. I understand that. And of course, Charlie Kirk went to heaven. But she just got married to him. She was, what she said, deeply in love with him. She had children with him. And this is how she's responding. That's what people were saying. Why is it that she seems a little too happy? You know what I mean?
Because he understands the fight that we're up against. And he can
Keep
articulate
watching. It's
that
about to get interesting.
in a way that transcends. He's an amazing man.
He's an amazing man. Now, I'm not saying you can't have a guy friend. I'm not saying that at all. But what people were saying is that her interaction was a little bit suspicious. Now, it's not evil for you to have thoughts. I want you to understand that. If you have a thought against someone who is a Christian, that's not in and of itself evil. I want you to see this. People were pointing out the fact that she was wearing black leather pants. If you know anything about black leather pants, they're not your typical just lost a husband wardrobe material. You know what I mean? And they're skinny and tight. Skinny jeans aren't even in style right now. That's a whole 2016 thing. And then of course she's honoring her husband by wearing the freedom shirt. So I'm not trying to put any words in anybody's mouth or anything like that. She's wearing a freedom shirt that obviously Charlie Kirk was wearing when he got assassinated. The freedom shirt, honoring her husband. But the hug between him and her was what caught a lot of people's attention. It seemed a little bit
No one will ever
suspicious. And when they came in, her hands went through his hair, which is not just a typical side hug. And this is not just something I'm saying right now. This is something thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people have been pointing out. And just looking at this picture, I understand that there are isolated clips that can get taken out of context and things like that, but it just seems like you would try to abstain from these things if you had just lost your husband. Now, once again, I need to oversay this. I'm not at all trying to say anything or propose anything or put any thought planted in anybody's brain right now. Understand me, please, please, please. But many people are just stating that this seems a little bit odd. Now, I'm going to play you this video. And this video is from a lady that I've only watched this video once, never seen this girl's TikToks before, but she just popped up on Twitter, and this is what she has to say, her opinion, on what they're trying to do with J.D. Vance and his wife. I'm not at all backing this, or not at all saying this is what's going to happen, or what even I think, but this is what she proposes here, and I want you to listen to this, and let me know what you think about this in the chat. This is interesting here.
They are trying to replace Usha Vance with Erika Kirk, because Erika Kirk and J.D. Vance is their Christian nationalist wet dream, and you won't convince me otherwise. Because what is this? What is this body language? When did we start putting our hands up in the hair of our friends when we hug? Yeah, no, I know this is weird. Oh, and then there's this one.
That is a little strange. I don't know if I've ever hugged anybody and put my hands in their hair. That's just weird. You know what I mean?
And JD, why are your hands so low? There's no reason for them to be on her hips, but there they are. But if that's not enough, here is her introducing him at Turning Point.
I am tremendously blessed and honored tonight to be able to introduce to you a very, very dear friend and his wife.
And if you're not convinced yet that they're trying to replace her with Erika Kirk, this is him when asked by a student about him and his wife's difference in like their religious beliefs, and he ends it with this.
Do I hope eventually that she is somehow moved by the same thing that I was moved in by church? Yeah, I honestly do wish that, because I believe in the Christian gospel, and I hope eventually my wife comes to see it the same way.
He wants her to fall in line. He wants her to be
That has been interesting.
Nationalist.
She is not spiritually on the same page as him. She is a different religion than him. I think she's Hindu, if I'm not mistaken. And J.D. Vance is like this avid gospel-believing, Jesus Christ is King of Kings. Like, he believes that. And his wife isn't really. And then they have kids that are on separate pages. So what she's saying is very interesting here.
Just like him. And if he can't convince her, he'll find a new one.
Let me know what you think about that in the comments below. It is very interesting. I don't want to suspect anything that's not true, of course, or not going to be true, but it is just interesting to think about some of these things. And just people were pointing out, like this person pointed out, Erika Kirk's such a happy grieving widow, and then goes on to say that.
I hear it's a good one. It's hotty toddy.
Just seems, I don't know. With the whole thing with Charlie Kirk, even if this isn't it, there just seems to be something fishy about the entire thing. The assassination. They covered up the ground. They took it down the video equipment. Why have we not seen any of the video equipment? He literally videoed all of his debates. Why have we not seen any of those videos? Why did they cover the ground with concrete? Why did the killer? Why did the same gun that they found? What was it? They didn't find whatever it was with the bullet. They found a different trace of a different gun somewhere else. Too many things are out of the blue here. Too many things, and I don't think it's just coincidence. I think that there is a bigger picture amongst this whole thing. Not saying Erika Kirk or just her. I'm just saying the whole thing. And even this was a week after he died. This person pointed out. This is, a little bit strange with this Twitter post, And then up here, people were saying how she was fake crying and different things like that. It's just very interesting because I want you to understand this. I know for a fact that our nation is not saved by politics. And I know so many people, they think politics and these world leaders and these like famous influencers are going to be the thing that saves our nation. You're so far from the truth, my friend. Nothing can save our nation except Jesus Christ, and we need a lot of him right now. Because when you look at our government, when you look at everything in our nation right now, you've got to understand there are so many things behind the scenes that we don't even see. Behind the curtain. And I pray that somebody goes in and they undo that curtain and they burn the curtain to the ground so we can see every single thing that's happening. Every single thing. If you knew half the things that go on in the White House, I'm not saying even Trump is a part of this. I'm saying just half of the things that go on in the White House. If you actually research it and deep dive into all this stuff, so many of the people you even support now, and I'm not saying this about Erika Kirk, I'm just saying so many of the people that you support now, you would not support them. Because you realize so many people, the majority of people are just puppets. Just puppets controlled by money, controlled by power, controlled by this person, controlled by that person. They're like little fish in a pond. Have no say, and then there's one big alligator that controls everything. Eats the fish whenever they want them. Does whatever he wants. I'm telling you, it's crazy when you really get into this. That's why you have to have a firm foundation. Put your faith, put your trust in Jesus, and understand he's coming back soon. Stay ready. Be prepared. Like I say on this channel all the time, remember, stay awake, not woke. I love you guys so much. Let me know what you think of this in the comments. And once again, I just have to overemphasize this. I'm not at all trying to say anything about Erika Kirk because I know many people, they regard her as a woman of God and different things like that. I'm not at all saying anything about Erika Kirk. I want you to hear my heart there. I think she's a great woman. I think that she, has had a lot of trouble. I think that there are things that we maybe don't see the big picture of, but I don't want you to ever put words in my mouth that I'm saying. So this is what the internet is saying. This is what people are saying. I have my suspicions. I have my thoughts on this. But let me know what you think in the chat. Love you guys. Have an amazing rest of your day. Bye-bye.